Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to Intentional Productivity Tips. It is Wednesday. It is 5 o'clock Pacific time, and that means it is another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, and I am so excited today because today we have a guest that we're going to talk to that I'm so excited to bring onto the stage. Today we're going to be talking to Jenny Rice. She is an amazing woman I met, I think, at the beginning of this year. And what I appreciate about Jenny is that she is a visionary behind Scale Your Solo Business. She works with solopreneurs to develop courses, content, and be able to monetize your business. She has been working with Fortune 500 companies and companies for over 20 years. But what I appreciate the most about Jenny, she creates amazing courses and amazing content. But the thing I appreciate most about her is her commitment to working with people authentically. She has a holistic approach. She is a continuously lifelong learner who has a lot of certifications that she's brought in to really help us be our authentic self. And so I am so excited today that we are going to talk with Jenny Rice. Jenny, why don't you come on out? It is so exciting to see you today.
I'm so excited to be here, Megan. I really love what you do, and I'm just so honored to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Well, I'm so excited. As I said, you and I met earlier this year, and I just appreciated from when we met, I appreciated your, and it sounds cliche to say this, but it's true. I appreciated your vibe. I appreciated just who you are, your approach, and how you work with people. And so we're going to talk about courses, and we're going to talk about content creation and things like that and how we can connect it to our productivity. But before we get there, I think a lot of times people want to know, what was your journey like to get to where you are? The show is called Intentional Productivity Tips. I'm always curious, how did you become a coach for solopreneurs? How did you become a solopreneur? Was it intentional? What was that process like for you?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. It's such an insightful question too. And it's funny, it made me think about when I was a child, my dad was very much into productivity. And it was sort of like your checklist of your to-do list every day, even as a kid. So it was about what you're going to accomplish, what you're going to get done. So I've been what my friends call me a human doing. I like to get things done, and I like to do things efficiently. I don't like waste. I don't like, things that are not time efficient or not productive. So very much into that path, even growing up as a child. And what I found in business and working with solopreneurs is that let's make the maximum impact that you can have on people, and let's do it in a way that's authentic, positive, and really truly impactful, because I believe that people are not buying information, they're buying transformation.
And so I love that.
Yes.
People are not buying information, they are buying transformation. That is
Exactly. And so when I work with people and solopreneurs and coaches, and you're asked about my path to getting here, it's around making the impact of their message to people and what they want to do to help people transform. And what's interesting, talk about productivity and talk about messaging too, is that I find a lot of people want to do a data dump of content. They want to do a lot of, let's do this, let's add this and that. And I end up pulling them back and saying, what do you really need to do to be effective? What do you really need to do to get your message across? And less is more often the time, but people think, I want to throw everything in there, when it's overwhelming people rather than over delivering.
That is such a good way to think about it. When you think about it, less truly is more, right? It is.
Yes.
It in so many different things.
Yes. And there is a sweet spot. There definitely is a sweet
Mhm.
spot when you're trying to communicate your message, trying to get people to understand what the transformation you're looking for.
Mhm.
So there is a sweet spot definitely to go in there and do that.
I like that. And I also like that you talk about how productivity has been impactful for you and your efficiency as a kid, because I will admit the same thing. I'm the youngest, and my brother is 7 years older than me. My sister's 10 years older than me. So I'm younger. And so from a very young age, I have always asked the question, there's got to be a better way.
Great.
And I think that that's a lot of what has driven me and still drives me in productivity. When I'll look at things and I'll just be like, no, 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 there has got to be a better way. So I like that you're talking about how, when you were talking about being productive as you were younger and growing up with it, that really sets our mind in motion. Do you still find that you use those things today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Want to hear a funny story? When I was 5, I didn't want to play doctor or house or anything like that. I wanted to play office. And I would be the boss, and I'd have my phone there, and I'd have my book there, and I would say, you go do that. Hello, yes, yeah. And I would multitask. And that was fun for me. So I think even as a young child, I like to multitask and get things done and accomplish things. So it's funny on how those little things trick it into your life and then end up continuing on, when you're older.
They really do. Well, and I would imagine, especially as a solopreneur, working with solopreneurs, you have a lot on your plate. So I would imagine multitasking as you've gotten to where you are has been something that's been important.
Absolutely. And it's so funny you say that because I find I'm continually improving my processes and my productivity and using different tools to help me with that. But because I'm working with clients to deliver the results that they want, and it's great. I'm successful. I'm working with a lot of different clients, but I got to make sure I manage them so that I don't forget something or something they give me, it's not sort of left hanging there. So I try to be really efficient in the communication I get from them and in what I'm delivering with them. And then I have a team of 12 people. So I need to manage them too and what they're doing. So I have a lot of tools with me that really help me to make sure that things get done. They get done efficiently, they get done well.
I really like that. One thing I do want to add is you are watching. I am Megan. I am your favorite strategic productivity partner. And I am talking with Jenny Rice, and she is with the Holistic Course Creator. And what I would also like to say is we are on USA Global TV and radio, and you can find us here at 5 o'clock every Wednesday. And so please like, subscribe, and be notified of any new episodes. And if you have any questions, please comment. We will answer them as we are going.
Perfect. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
One question I did have for you, Jenny, as you were talking about that is, how have your processes changed? Like you were talking a little bit about how you communicate with people. Have your processes changed over the years? When you think of where you are now, have they changed? And what did that look like for you? What are some of those enhancements and what are some of the lessons you've learned that you can share with us?
Yes, absolutely. The way I feel I stand out is that I'm high touch, I'm high service oriented. I really want people to be successful. So I sort of say you have unlimited access to me, which is great for the client, but I need to manage my time and my priorities and what I'm doing. So I played around with different, as I said, tools. Would you like me to share some of the tools I've used and what
That would be great. Yes.
So I started with Excel. I've gone to Airtable, which is a great tool to manage priorities and things like that. But what's interesting is I use multiple tools. So I use Airtable for managing leads. Then I have it in a CRM system. And then what I use Excel for is I have a tab for each client. And I very diligently, because I have forgotten and things got lost in somewhere in the ethers, where I have a tab for them and I say the date and what I'm doing with them and what the follow-up needs. So whenever somebody reaches out to me and say, Jenny, what's the status of this? I can go right to my Excel spreadsheet and see what it is. Because I don't want somebody to come back to me and say, Jenny, where's that file? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot it. Right? Which has happened before, and you learn from your mistakes, right?
Absolutely. Life happens, especially when you're a business owner. It's going to happen even more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I will tell you, and one of the things I'm going to be honest with you is I always start with the Google worksheet or an Excel worksheet. When I start with clients with their priorities and with everything that they've got going on, I always start with an Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet. I don't go into any of the tools until we get that information in there. So I love the fact, plus you can make it, personalize it, and do whatever you want with it.
Yes, absolutely. And I've got drop downs for status, drop down for due dates, drop downs for start dates and who's responsible and things like that. So it makes it much more efficient to use it. Absolutely.
I love that. And it's personalizing. I'll have clients that will tell me, what do I have to use? What tool do I have to use? And I'll always say, no, there is no tool you have to use except for your brain and your
Yes.
creativity.
Yes.
When you think about it, there is no have to. We just need to use what works best for us.
Yeah. And Megan, I'll share with you a process I take my clients through. So my clients come to me with saying, I want to do a course on XYZ. And so what I want to do with them is making sure that they're doing an impactful transformational course. So I take them through my signature system called Paddle, Paddle. And what I did in the past was that they go through my training course, and then I'm very much into teach and apply. So when I teach them a concept, I want them to apply it and do something with it. So in the past, I would have PDF worksheets and they would download them and then they would share them with me. And I found that while the PDF worksheets worked really well, I would like, oh, where is this sheet? Where is that sheet? And I would lose them. So then what I did is I combined the whole process into one Google sheet with different tabs for each step. And what's great about it is now, as soon as somebody joins with me, I send them their own spreadsheet for that. And as they go through the course, they actually fill in the data as they go. They have a column for Jenny to write in comments in there, so I can get feedback. It's live feedback. We can go back. It's not like the PDF I found was limiting because I had to comment on it, send it back, where this one is a live communication feed. So always looking for improvements or ways to be more efficient and giving feedback to clients.
I will say, Jenny, I really love that because I think you're right. When talking about being intentional with our productivity and talking about how we can work with people, saying, okay, what system is the best for right now? How can we make it improve? And I'm sure that you get feedback that's helpful from your clients as well.
Yes. And for example, when I first converted it from PDF, I went into Google Docs. And the interesting thing with Google Docs, it would paginate it funny. And it was like, it looked really funny. It was hard to follow. So I went into Google Sheets. So you have a row for it. So it's interesting on how you learn as you go and you continue to improve.
It's so funny that you should mention that. And absolutely. And I think as people are listening, one of the things we want to say is that you do want to try with different formats. You want to try, I know people, whether you like a document, does it look the way you want? Do you want to try it in something else? And I think just that constant. One thing I would say is to be a successful solopreneur, you have to be willing to do that, right? There has to be an element of curiosity and wanting to improve things to be able to help you.
One little tip that I found was so helpful with folders on your Chrome bar. And so I have a folder now for Excel sheets for my clients. And so they're all bookmarked there. So I'm like, oh, I'm meeting with so-and-so today. I just go into their thing. That's been a lifesaver for me because I'm like, where did that file go? Where did that sheet go? It's now all in one folder. So that to me has been a brilliant shift in knowledge. And I love folders. I wish I'd learned that years ago. So.
Isn't it interesting? Well, and taking time, I think it's so important to look at, arrange your Chrome, your Google, whatever it is that you're looking at it, to take that time and say, what's going to make it helpful in the long run? And is it going to save me 5 minutes every time? Yes. Is it going to save me that frustration of how many times do we ask ourselves that in a day? Where did I put, And so I think having it accessible and so easy is important.
Absolutely. And I love how you talk about continuously improving and looking for more efficient ways to do it, because as we learn and we grow and we expand, and it's great because I'm getting bigger and bigger as I, bring on more clients, you have to have processes in place to make sure you manage them well. Because again, as I said earlier, I don't want it to be, oh, I forgot about that, or I missed that, right? So it's trying to be detailed oriented enough to get that.
And that is with growth, right? Because you said you work with 12 people. And so that takes time too, because you need to be available and accessible for those 12 people.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story today? I have this guy who does multiple things. He does video, does Canva, and he's great. He's wonderful. And I had a spreadsheet for him to say, here's a task, because he does multiple things. And I didn't do it for the last 2 weeks. And I forgot something to send to him. So I was like, okay, Jenny, lesson. I messaged him today and I said, I got to bring back the spreadsheet for you because I missed something to communicate it to you because I didn't track it. So it was a little bit of a wake up call to say, okay, you have this process in place for a reason because it helps you not miss things, right? So.
Well, and I would say in some ways right now, as we're at the beginning of November, we know the next couple of months are going to be crazy. And this time of year is when we can start to be a little lazy with some of our productivity habits. But it's a reminder that they're there for a reason and that it's worth it. So I think that's a great lesson to have learned and reminder for
Yes.
yourself too.
Yes. No, it's true. And because I'm working with solopreneurs and coaches, and excuse me, my main goal is to put creativity in it. I'm just going to take a sip of water here, because I want to focus on that creative part. So the efficiency part is in the background, but if you don't get that efficiency done well, then the creative part doesn't work well.
It is so true. Let's talk about your course creating. Let's talk about you as a holistic course creator. And what I would like to know is, what is it about you and your authentic approach with people? What is it that's important, and how did you develop that?
Great question. So I've been doing this for over 20 years, working with many Fortune 500 companies. Now I primarily work with solopreneurs, and I'm sorry, my voice is raspy. Solopreneurs and coaches, because I get really jazzed with somebody coming, like I met with a client today, and she was thinking about changing her offer, and we really fine-tune what her offer is going to look like and how she's going to benefit her clients. So not only is she becoming more knowledgeable and more impact, but her clients are being transformed in the results of it too. So
Wow.
it makes it really fun to do that.
What a great ripple effect to experience and see.
Yeah. And because I look at a holistic too, I'm very much into, it's not just about getting a course online, it's about creating a really transformational, successful course. I really believe that, the more successful you are, the more people you're going to attract into it. Talk about authenticity. It's got to be really transformative course. And that to me is experience-based, meaning that when you have a course, it's not just about education. It's about, what do I do with that knowledge? It's kind of like, I know how to eat properly, but if I don't do it, what's the point of having that knowledge? Right. So it's about what people do with the information. And it's funny because I'm working with a client right now, and he's a brilliant businessman, and he's got he's written a book on business, how to be successful in business. And I keep telling him, I said, what's missing from your content is, what do I do with this information? So how do I apply it in my business? And so I'm really pushing back on him and saying, we need to put a lot of experience-based application in here, because it's what people do with it that really matters, not just the education about it, if that makes sense.
That really does. And that hits on something I was very personally interested in when talking to you, and some questions I was curious in, because I will be honest, for a very long time, I didn't think I didn't think that a course was right for me for whatever reason, right? And in talking to you and talking to others, I realized that it is. But how do you help someone to decide what type of experience is right? And then how do you help them understand that they're going to save time by investing this energy, right? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that it's an energy investment that pays off in the long run, if that makes sense.
Yes. Absolutely. So what I try to help people realize is that when you're creating a course for your clients to transform them, it again is back what they do with it, not just what they learn about it. So what we try to do is we look at, what are the goals, your learning objectives you want to accomplish? And I'll tell you, I use the analogy of Hell Island and Heaven Island. And I'll share that little story with you. So Hell Island is where your clients are now. So let's pretend you're a business coach dealing with middle managers on communication. So Hell Island is where they're suffering now, meaning that they're frustrated, they're not communicating well, they're not meeting their targets, they're not sleeping well, et cetera, et cetera. Heaven Island is where they want to be, which is, I know what I need to do. I have a blueprint for my progress. I know what communication looks like. It's getting better. I'm sleeping better, et cetera, et cetera. And how they get from Hell Island to Heaven Island is that coach, that solopreneur, right? And what I tell them is saying that whether you're an airplane, a submarine, a canoe, or any type of boat, people are not buying the boat. They're buying the transformation they're going to get when they get to Heaven Island.
Wow.
So when I talked about building the boat, it's like, what boat do you need to build to get them there? So it's not just about making a flashy, nice boat, which is important too, right? Looking good and things like that. But it's like, what is going to get them to Heaven Island? And once they get that clarity and they know what Hell Island looks like when Heaven Island, the boat almost builds itself.
That's such a good way to put it. And what a great way of starting it, rather than just dumping all of the information that all of us come with, right?
Yes. And the funny part is that I'd say majority of my clients, like Jenny, I just want to get in there and get my slides going. I'm like, no. Trust me, you'll be very happy that I'm making you take a step back, look at your target audience. What are they suffering from? What are their pain points? What's the solution? And then, so then when they get there, they say, oh my God, I have a clear outline now because I know what I'm trying to get them to do. So I'll give you an example. I had a client who was a dentist, and she was doing a course on TMJ pain, for your jaw pain. Mm-hmm. And she put together this great content. And I took a look at it and I said, you have like 20 minutes on science behind the muscle movement and all these things. And I said, why is this in there? She goes, because it's fascinating. And I'm like, fascinating to you maybe, but is it to the people that have TMJ? And she goes, oh my God, yeah. I said, take it out. This is not going to be relevant to them. It's not going to be important to them. So it's really about thinking of your target audience and what do they need to transform, and making sure the information that's in there is going to help them transform.
Well, and what a great guide you are to be able to help people to understand that, right? Because, there are things, and I know I'm the same way. There's things that I think people should know, but they don't care about. And so I think to have a guide like you to be able to help with that is important.
Absolutely.
I like what you said about getting started with a course by thinking about your target audience. So if we have somebody that's listening right now and they're just not sure, they were kind of where I was before, I'm not sure if I should have a course or if this is right for me, what would you recommend are the first steps that they would take?
Well, they need to look at their niche primarily. So I believe the more niche down you are, the more successful you're going to be, because you're really going to know what people are suffering from and what you want to help them accomplish. And then you're going to know who your client base is, where they hang out, where they play, where you can find them so you can help and serve them. People that go too high level and broad end up not really serving anybody because people don't resonate with them. Okay. I have a client, for example, she does pelvic floor exercises, and I hope this is okay to say this live.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I said, you're not really teaching pelvic floor exercises. What you're really doing is you're helping the woman with, incontinence that can't make it to the bathroom on time running into the house, or the man with erectile dysfunction. That's essentially what you're trying to do in healing. Your pelvic floor is your boat, getting them there. But really what you're doing, you're helping those clients do that. So it's really identifying what that is and what they need to do to accomplish it.
That's a great example of a niche, because it's super important. And there's people who have a need. And so I think finding through that, I really like that recommendation. Jenny, would you tell us a little bit about where we can find you? We know that your website is holisticcoursecreator.com, but I know you have some exciting things that you're doing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so I'm doing lots of things. I do a weekly event on LinkedIn. If people want to know about scaling your solo business, please come and join that. I can put some info in the comments in there. And if you want to book a call with me to talk about strategy, talk about ideas, I'm happy to do that too. Spend a half hour brainstorming. Like this client today, she's like, I'm not ready to create a course, but we had some really good ideas going on what she could do with her course when she gets there. So it's all about thinking and brainstorming and getting ideas out on the table.
I like that. And I think that's so important. And we will definitely include your contact information when we post the show, so people can connect with you as well.
Awesome.
One question I have, one of the things I like to have every week is a productivity quick tip. And I know that I had asked you if you have any suggestions, tips, recommendations that you would like to share for us that have made a positive difference for you.
Yes, I actually like to take it into the context of course creation and the productivity. So what I find with clients that create courses, that the productivity is that they're spending less time communicating the ideas, the content to their clients. Once you put it online, it's like that client can go any time of day, go once or twice whenever they want to learn that material, versus that person having to explain it every time. So the productivity comes, they have so much more time in their day to make an impact and do that. So in a way, they're leveraging their time much more effectively. And the client is benefiting more because they're getting access to the information when they want, how they want. They want to do it slowly, fast, once or twice. It gives a lot of flexibility with that. So I find that's the biggest benefit that clients give to me, is saying, wow, Jenny, after I develop my course, I am making more money, spending less time, and making a bigger impact and doing it all, because that's really the essence of it, is really to make a bigger impact.
Well, and if there's a productivity tip that can save you time, increase your money, and give you the ability to do something else, I mean, I think that might be one of the greatest quick tips. Personally, I think that is a really valuable tip.
Great.
Is there anything else, any other suggestions that you have or anything that you've learned that you would like to share with us?
Is don't give up, from an efficiency standpoint too, things can tumble down. And somebody told me wisely, they said, as you expand and build your business, new challenges will come up. And when those challenges come up, you need to resolve them with efficiency, with productivity, with tools and things like that. And some people I know, they think way far down the road, and you don't need to buy all the bells and whistles right away. You don't need to get all the tools and aids, bring them on as you grow and bring them on as you're more successful. And it makes more sense because then you use them effectively.
That does make sense. I think you're right. And I think one of the important things, and I think that's why it's so great that you are a solopreneur and that you're a coach to solopreneur, is that you really can't do it alone. I get that the word is solo and that means one, but when you think about it, we all do need a network. We need a support system. We need, people that we can contact and that can help us. And so I think taking the time to find that and to, like you said, learn from your lessons and learn from your mistakes and not to give up. I think that that's so incredibly powerful.
Yeah. Just like you do too, Megan, you help people with productivity. You're a productivity expert. People can't be good at everything, right? And so what's interesting with the clients I work with, because they're subject matter experts in their area, they think they know how to develop course or programs. And I'm like, you don't know about adult learning principles. There's some really cool little tips you can do to really trigger people's brains to pay attention. Like if you want to research the reticular activating system, it's a really good way to get people engaged in training. So there's some really good things you can do to put in your training that people just wouldn't know about because it's not their wheelhouse. It's not their area of expertise. Just like you help people be more productive because that's your area of expertise, people can help and benefit because you can't be good at everything, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Well, and I will tell you, one of the things I love about working with productivity is that my clients work in, like you mentioned, in such a variety of areas that the things that I get to look and watch and see them experience is always mind blowing because I learn about industries and jobs and just things that I would have never known about before.
Absolutely. It's great. Isn't it fun?
It really is. Yeah. To me, I love that part because it just, it's what makes our job more exciting because it's always something new and something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Jenny, I want to thank you for being here with me today. I want to thank you for reminding us all about the journey and how important it is as a solopreneur, and most importantly, how to authentically and how to holistically create not just courses, but experiences so that we can expand our businesses and expand our stretch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time and really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Please remember, if you have questions or want to reach out to Jenny, you can reach her at jenny@holisticcoursecreator.com. And her website is holisticcoursecreator.com. I am Megan. I am your strategic productivity partner. And Jenny, thank you again for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again, everybody. This is Megan on USA Global TV and Radio. You have been watching Intentional Productivity Tips. I will be back next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, where we are going to talk about more time and ways to take care of and take control of your productivity. And now a word from our sponsors.